Many people struggle greatly with finance. It is no surprise there exists a mass of self-help guides on this particular topic. Financial self-help is a lucrative business given the struggles of the many. It would appear a good number of people have become successful off of How I Became Successful books. It would appear a good number of people became millionaires off of How I Became a Millionaire books. I am kind of joking, but also not really. This is a lucrative market, hence the massive entourage of massively successful self-help books. I mean successful, of course, in terms of sales. Whether the advice they give is useful is another story. Sometimes it certainly is, sometimes it probably isn't. It goes without saying that many problems are systemic and can only be properly solved in systemic rather than individual ways. Self-help sometimes ignores this fact. Having said that, there is a place for self-help. There is a place for financial self-help, relationship self-help, attitude-related self-help, and a bunch of other stuff. This stuff can help people. Even when systemic changes are required, it can alleviate the suffering of individuals within the system. Today I want to talk about what I view as the two types of financial self-help. I call these the basic guide and the promise. The basic guide is just a financial guide. It has no promise of success and fortune. It just provides information and guidance where it can, with no promises attached. The promise is a type of financial self-help which promises fame and fortune to the reader. Rather than a general guide, it is a recipe for greatness, or at least that's how it markets itself. Obviously, there is some nuance between these forms, but as I see it, these seem to be the two major forms of financial self-help. I am not a big reader of these kinds of books, but I think we can analyze the difference between these two forms of self-help. The basic guide immediately seems a lot better than the promise. I call it the promise because it is propped up on promises of wealth and greatness. The issue with such promises is that even if everyone followed the advice to the fullest extent, they still couldn't achieve wealth and greatness. They can't achieve these things because the system won't allow everyone to succeed. The economy needs a very large foundation of workers, many of which are low income. Not everyone can be an entrepreneur. Wealth needs to come from somewhere. These promises will materialize for some people, but they are generally at odds with systemic trends and the structure of the system itself. They work for the odd individual, but they do feed into false notions that anyone can succeed if they just work hard and smart. This is untrue, and this idea is at odds with the system itself. But people want hope, and that is what these books provide. As I have said before, capitalism is propped up on the convincing of the oppressed that they may one day join the oppressors. The financial self-help, which I label the promise, does undeniably include good, useful bits that help individuals. My issue is the harm that is caused when it perpetuates all manner of lies about a fantasy meritocratic system. It makes sense that they do this because, as I have said, selling hope is profitable. People need hope and will pay a lot for it. Selling hope that feeds into lies about systemic reality is, however, morally questionable to say the least. I massively prefer the simple guides. They may not contain as much hope as they lack the promises of wealth and fortune, but they are probably just as, if not more helpful, and they don't feed into false, harmful ideas. They don't feed people hope where there is often none. They don't perpetuate lies which prop up unjust systems. They don't pretend systemic failures are individual failures. Morally, I think they are undeniably superior. Moral worth and market worth are, however, very different things.